Well, hey, everybody, getting ready to have the live call-in show here in about 15 minutes. Going live a bit early with a little bit of a pre-show. So let me get everything set. So we'll have the show starting at the top of the hour, so just hang tight. 15 minutes. Since Scotty G is at MCO, just thought I'd jump on here a bit early. Let me know you're here. See folks jumping in. See Maddie Bell 96 over on Instagram. Been a bit since we've been here. They've updated our StreamYard, so we're trying some new things here too. Shout out to my good friend Richard, who was selling with us last week on hello on Instagram line. Drove all the way down to Florida and back. Enjoyed his adventures on social media. Walnuts24, what's going on? Veronica over on YouTube. What's up? We will start the show in 14 minutes. Getting things all sorted out here, then out of the studio for Thomas. We had a great cruise. It was awesome. Too short. Get my cruise mug. Relive the magic. Lots of Coke Zeros were consumed out of this, buddy. Oh, I could only get the free refills still. What's up, Tammy? Hello. Hello to Dig Dag over on Instagram. Happy Sunday night. Start the show in 14 minutes. Right. What's everybody up to tonight? Which we talked about during the show. We have 1 hour. Second line. 7 to 8 Central. Nope. 7 to 8 Eastern. 6 to 7 Central. 13 minutes. We'll start the show. Here's the deal. Tonight, I don't want to spill all the beans on the cruise because I'm waiting for Scott for that. He's going to be back for the shows next. I don't know if he's going to be back tomorrow. He's coming back tonight. I don't know if he's going to be available tomorrow. We'll see. But we're going to do all the nuts and bolts with the restaurants, the adult area, the whole like nuts and bolts of the cruise together. I'll give you some thoughts. If you have questions about the cruise, call in. I'll definitely answer them. Fulton, you can call in if you have, we'll talk about Disney stuff. If you have Disney questions, Disney comments, Disney stuff. I'm going to limit it to Disney talk for the Disney podcast tonight. Should I tell the story about the water spout that we had during our cruise or the sharks? We had both on the same day. Richard knows. Richard got the best picture of the water spout outside of his cabin. It was on his Facebook page. Then we got the Lighthouse Point, and it was closed for the job. Rumor had it. Correct. It was a Sharknado. And the funny thing is, I didn't even think the boat was rocking that much. But Scott ran right out into the middle of the adult area where it was raining, into the rain. This was after a tasting, after all. The rest of us, Pam, Elizabeth, I don't remember who else was with us. We were just trying to get to Duck Inn Diner because we needed chicken tenders. Everything was closed because of the storm. We could not find food because of the storm up on Deck 9. But we did get chicken tenders. I think chicken tenders was the only thing available at that moment. So we got some sweet chicken tenders. But for some reason, Scott decided to run out in the middle where it was pouring. Again, questionable move, but it was epic. Yeah, you can't really do both the Halloween or the Christmas party. That'd be expensive unless you're independently wealthy. I'd probably do the... Oh, man, that's a tough call. I'm more of a Christmas guy, like as far as the seasons, but the Halloween party is pretty epic with the trick-or-treating. I don't know. We'd have to kind of crowdsource that one. Shout out to Deanna. She was sailing with us from down in Texas. We had a great time with her family. Oh my gosh. Starting the show in 9 minutes. 9 minutes. We'll start the show. See, Craig is over on Instagram. Alabate5 is on Instagram. Again, I'm going to try to hold back on a lot of the cruise stuff until Scott gets back. But if you have questions and you call in, I will answer them. But Scott and I have epic stories, but we got to tell them together so he can check me. But there were water spouts. There were sharks. I'm not kidding. You had to be there. There were snakes. We saw a snake on Lookout Key. Almost stepped on it. Hello, Andrea. Hello, Peter. Tuned in out in Massachusetts on YouTube. What's going on? But the Magic is a great ship. Great ship. Love the Magic. Hello, hello, hello to George down in Texas. DJ George. Let me turn that sound off here. Over on the Discord. Turn it off for an hour. There we go. Ooh, when can you buy tickets? I believe it's at 6 a.m. Eastern, if I'm not mistaken. Let's ask the old Google. I think it's 6 a.m. Eastern, though. Like everything else. What time? 7 a.m. Eastern is what the AI Google says. But for some reason, I think it's 6 a.m. Eastern. I think it's wrong. I think it's right. That's AI, so I wouldn't trust it. Hello to Scott from Tennessee. I don't sell the tickets. So yeah. I would say 6. Hello to Justin. Yes, this free cheapy music, the non-copyright stuff is kind of Tomorrowlandy. Yeah, look at 6. And if it's not available, just hang tight because they will be available soon. Cleveland rocks. Yeah, Cleveland's represented tonight. All right, show starting in 6 minutes. So get excited. Yes. Oh, it does say 7 a.m. Eastern. Yeah, 7 a.m. Eastern. I'm getting it on a couple different sites. Sleep in. You know what? It's because I'm in the central. It's 6 a.m. for me. That's why I'm in the central time zone. I'm thinking 6 for me. That's what it is. I just got home from a cruise, and I'm still on cruise like brain. So sorry about that. Hello, Jennifer in New Hampshire. Glad to have the Sunday night show to chase away the Sunday scaries. Hey, the good news about my job is I work the same schedule 7 days a week. So I don't have Sunday scaries, really. Same thing every single day. I used to have them. Drew Carey. Who's this message? Yes, there it is. Yeah, the cruise was terrible, Patrick. It was awful. It was the food wasn't good. The shows were boring. The boat rocked too much. Yeah, it was bad. It was boring. Yeah, Patrick has a good idea. I should make it sad so that everybody didn't go, doesn't feel bad. Andrew's in the house over on Facebook. Thanks for being here. We're going to start the show in 4 minutes. Shout out to Cummings Julie over on Instagram. VGS Mom is over there. AJS number 5 is there. Doreen Cleary is over on Instagram, as well as Salix Beal. Thanks for being here. Got a lot of folks tuned in tonight. I bet you the music starts up again. It's a loop. The Cardinals game has been in a rain delay for 3 hours, and it's not raining here. And we live about 25 miles from the stadium. What's up, Brian Flaherty over on Instagram? That's Schulte123 over on Instagram. Shout out. Thanks for being here. Starting the show in 3 minutes. Top of the hour. We'll hit it. Band is tuning up. I see the drummer grabbing his sticks. The sax player getting his reed. Looks like the phone lines are set to be opened. God help us that everything works because it's been 2 weeks. We shall see. Now we will all hear this music in our sleep tonight. Just like me. Pros and cons of being a travel agent. Pros, awesome job. I love working in travel. Cons, you work 7 days a week, 365 days a year. You work all the time. You do not get a day off. Everywhere you go, you take your laptop with you. When I go to Mizzou football games, my wife has to drive, and I have to work in the back seat on the way there and on the way home. True story. It's intense. Shout out Aaron Wallace _WF. I wonder if it's Wake Forest. Just guessing. Context clues. Two minutes to the big show. 2 minutes. Shout out to Sean Card over on Facebook. Welcome back, Mike. Hope you had a great time. I can't wait to hear about it. Can't wait to share. Lots to talk about. Password. Ooh, got to come up with a password tonight. Ooh, Paul has a password. Ooh, I'll think of something. Good idea. Yes. Get over to the Discord and ask about good running music recommendations. I just have an ongoing running playlist. If I want to hear a good song, I just add it to it. Oh, Jason's here, star of last week's shows. We got 1 minute till the show starts. 1 minute till the show starts. Posting on the socials as we speak that we are live. Let's see. So there's Facebook. Go over to X. Post. All right. Oops. I did not mean to close that. The site, it's too graphically intense. No, I don't want that one. We'll start the show in just a second. Looking for... I just lost my site. There's too many ads on this site. What about the prices? Okay, we're good. All right. Yeah, George has running mixes. Get them from George. I'm sure they're good. Okay, let's get rid of this music. Pause. We're done with that. All right, we're out of here. All right, let's do the show. Let's get the show rolling here. Here we go. Well, hey, everybody. Welcome to the BOGP Open Line for Sunday night, July 13th, 2025. I'm your host, Mike Rallman from BeOurGuestPodcast.com and one of the senior agents over at the Magic for Less Travel. Hello, I'm back. No Scotty G tonight. He just went wheels up at MCO. Yes, he took a longer vacation than I did. He did it right. He bookended the cruise, as you're supposed to do. He did a little boardwalk. He did some Disney magic. And then he wrapped up with a couple of days at Saratoga Springs Resort. He did it right. I just came home. You know, you had to do some things. But I'm here so that we can have a live call-in show tonight. So we're going to talk Disney for the next hour at 407-584-7173. That's 407-584-7173. 7173. We'll open up those phone lines here to talk Disney in just a second, but just want to say, hope you are having a tremendous weekend, and I'm glad to be back. Man, the Disney magic was great. We had an awesome 5-night cruise. The podcast cruise was great. I'm just going to tell you, I can't wait to share all about it. Now, tonight, I'm not going to go into everything about the podcast cruise. I'm kind of waiting to talk with Scott so we can share the epic stories about all the tastings we did, the dining rotation, Rapunzel's Royal Table, Animator's Palette, Lumiere's, the adult areas on the ship, all the stuff we did in after hours, the adult pool. That stuff we're going to dive into. Lookout Key, Castaway Key. We're going to jump into that and break that down, section by section, day by day, stuff like that. But if you have any questions about the podcast cruise, anything in particular, ask away. Give me a call. We'll tell those stories. But I think it's going to be better for Scott and I to tell those stories together, as far as that kind of stuff. But we had some epic stuff. And I just, first of all, wanted to thank everybody who sailed with us. The people make the experience. And the folks who sailed with us, made the cruise just so much fun. So I just thank everybody who sailed with us. We had a good time. Got to sail the Disney Magic. I hadn't been on the Disney Magic since 1998. So it had been a minute. It had been 27 years since I had been on this ship. And I was a little worried. I hadn't been on a classic ship since Mallory was like 8. We've been on the Wonder. We did a Western Caribbean sailing on the Wonder. And, since then I've been on the Fantasy, the Dream, the Wish, all these bigger ships, the Treasure. And I was like, oh man, am I really going to like going back to a classic ship? Spoiler alert. I love the Magic. Oh my gosh, the Magic was so great. It was comfortable. It was the right size. It was so easy to get around. It had everything you needed. In the adult, the public areas in general, the public areas on the ship are huge compared to the other ships. The public areas are big. I mean, it didn't feel small once you got used to it. My wife said like the first couple of hours on the ship, the Magic felt a little small, but then by the first night, everything felt just right. She had, adjusted to the ship, and it was great because you could get forward to aft, top to bottom super quickly. And she said she really enjoyed the ship. I enjoyed the ship. I give you a spoiler. Scott enjoyed the ship. So we're going to have a lot to talk about on that, but it was just a great sailing. I mean, we had a lot of stuff happen. Lookout Key was a very eventful day for us. Very unusual day. Castaway Key was a great day. We had a lot going on, so it was a lot of fun. So we could talk about that. We have the announcement of the Christmas stuff happening down at Walt Disney World, Mickey's Christmas party, Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party. Tickets are going to be on sale here soon next week. We have Starlight, the parade happening on July 20th. So what's that? 1 week from today, it's going to debut, actually right about now, at the Magic Kingdom. How about that? It's been a hot minute since we've had a nighttime parade. Spectre Magic went away. This one's coming back. And from what we've seen, this one's a little Spectro-like. I think they even threw in a nod and a wink and a nod to Spectro Magic on that last float that we've seen online, that there's going to be that little Jiminy Cricket at the end. Thank you. Thank you, Disney. You're listening. You're paying attention, because Jiminy Cricket was kind of the narrator of Spectro Magic, and I think he's going to kind of help us out with this parade. I love that idea. That's a great idea. And there's a new character, I believe, that they created for this Starlight Parade. It starts with a W. I'm drawing a blank here with the character's name, Whimsy or something like that. That's going to be the narrator of this parade, I think. That's going to kind of be the main character. I love this idea, and it looks outstanding. I know Jason, I think, is going to be there he was our guest last week on the shows, did a great job. He's going to be there next week. So we can't wait to hear the initial thoughts on this parade, but I have a feeling that people are going to be super stoked when they see this parade. And I also was thinking about this. I have kind of a thought that I wanted to share about just a 30,000 foot thought on this whole thing. It's Whimsy. Okay, there it is. Hey, I'm old, but I can remember things. I have a 30,000 foot thought I have on this. And I don't know if Disney thought about this and maybe they got lucky, but maybe not. And this is me from a Disney fan's perspective. If you're a Universal fan, you could say I am nuts, but this is an open line. And this is something we could talk about tonight, especially since Scott is not here. Here's what I think. Okay. This could be totally wrong, but hey, I have a microphone right now. And we're going to talk. And you're going to have a phone line, and you're going to be able to talk too. We're adults here, and we all respect each other, so we could have great conversations. Here's what I think. I think Disney is kind of on a little bit of a hot streak right now. I think this parade is going to be chef's kiss. I think this parade is going to be received very well. I think people are going to love this parade here when it comes out next Sunday, and people are going to love it. People are going to rave about this, especially the Disney fans like us that are like, thank you for bringing this back. I also think Test Track is getting great reviews. People are liking what they're seeing with Test Track. I'm seeing online over the past couple of weeks, people are liking Test Track 3.0. They're not dogging on it. They're on the positive side. And Disney fans will dog on things when they don't like it. We know that. They don't hide their feelings when they don't like something. But I think that they got Test Track right on this version of the refurb. Now, of course, a lot of people are not happy with Liberty Bell, Tom Sawyer Island. I'm one of those. I don't like to see that go away. I wish we could add and not subtract. I'm on that kind of a kick. But I think Disney's getting some things right now. I think they are moving in the right direction with things. Finally, I think in the last like 6 months to a year. And here's the other thing. This is that whole Universal Disney thing. 3 years ago with Epic Universe being announced, I'll be honest, like I thought Epic Universe the summer of 25 was going to just be like, whew, it was going to be all Epic Universe. Like it was going to be all we thought about, all we talked about, all we heard about. And now Epic Universe is awesome. People talk about it. People get great reviews, rave reviews. But I'll tell you what, the thing opened in May. It's July. And to me personally, and I work in the travel industry, I help people book trips. But at this point in the middle of July, Epic Universe is the third theme park, is a theme park. It's probably the first ranked theme park at this point at Universal, but it is a Universal theme park. But 2 years ago, a year ago, 3 years ago, whatever you want to think about it, like this was going to be the monster that just wiped everybody else out in Central Florida. Like Epic Universe coming on was just going to be like, whew, it was just going to level everybody. And I don't know if it was because this is my theory. They did so many previews for so long over at Epic Universe. Like they did them for like, seemed like 2 months, that when the opening date came, the hype train was gone. Like the day it officially opened to the public, I felt like everybody in Florida had already been 3 times. And that the mojo was kind of already gone for Epic Universe. Like it wasn't as like people weren't as jazzed because a lot of people had already been there. And now it kind of just feels like it's a cool theme park, but it's a theme park at Universal. And people still want to go there. Don't get me wrong. I'm not dogging on it. It's got great IP that people love. People love it. And it's nailing it, but it isn't the place that is just leveling everybody else. And I think Disney got lucky on that, in that now Disney's on the 1-2 punch, that they kind of got lucky that Epic Universe didn't like it. I think it was really, it just kind of plateaued. It did really well, but it plateaued. It wasn't like a huge spike. And then now Disney's getting some things right with Test Track. I think this nighttime parade is going to be a huge hit. Some other things around property are going well. I think that they're finally figuring things out. And so that's my thought, that I think that as Disney fans, I think that things are turning around. I'm hoping. So we shall see. So we could talk about that. We could talk about if you're excited for the Christmas party, the Halloween party. We had somebody ask earlier, which one should you go to? We had somebody in here, I think it was Tammy, asking she could only go to one, the Christmas party or the Halloween party. Can't afford both. Which one would you pick? I don't know which. I guess maybe the Halloween party because I like trick-or-treating more. But I love Christmas a lot. So which one would you pick, Halloween or Christmas party, if you had to throw down the money? Because they're expensive, like $200 on average, maybe like 170 to 220. So if you had to buy a ticket to one, which would you pick? So we could talk about that. We could do some Oddsmakers from the Friday show. You have questions about the cruise, we could talk about that as well. So Mike says that take is spot on. I'll take it. I'm never right about stuff like that, but I was thinking about that the other day. Maybe they just got lucky because like a year ago, I'll be honest, like I was like, God, when Epic opens, man, this is going to be ugly. This could be really ugly for Disney. This could be really ugly for the Disney parks. And I think that like, maybe they just like let everybody in so soon for like a couple of months that the day it opened, it wasn't such a big deal. And then Disney got a couple of wins. I mean, they didn't have to get, I think I was talking to Jason, actually. He made a great analogy either on the show or when we were talking sometime. They hit a lot of singles and doubles. They didn't have a lot of home runs, but they're hitting singles and doubles, just like little hits, little wins, just hit a bunch of little wins. And you can win baseball games by hitting singles and doubles as long as you consistently hit them. You don't have to always hit home runs, but you got to consistently get hits and consistently make sure that you're there. So I thought it was interesting. All right. So let me open up the phone lines here, get some calls, but please do call in about Disney if you're going to call in so we can have some conversations here. What's going on here? All right. Let's see what we got here. All right. See if we remember how to do this. So it's 407-584-7173, 407-584-7173. We can talk some Disney and have some fun tonight. And it looks like we have our first call. So let's hit this and go to here. Who's the first caller? Who do we have?
Hey, Mike, it's Paul from New Jersey.
Hey, Paul. Good to talk to you, brother. What's up?
Hey, brother, how you doing?
I'm good.
Love the topic. Like that universe, that's a good thought. You really got me thinking about the Universal splash, how Disney's countering. It was a great conversation for a Sunday night.
I don't know. I mean, I was just thinking about that the other day. You know, they got a couple of small wins, and I think that maybe Universal, and maybe it was good on Universal because they didn't get crushed. They kind of slow build, like a slow burn. I don't know, and that's probably long term a good win for them too.
I think to me, it's what it's like is, yes, Disney was a little slow in reacting. I mean, they did dominate. They still do dominate the area, and Universal's punching, but it's like the bear's been poked, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now you have Universal, and I think this is going to be a success. Universal is going to have, it's a great park. It seems like the theming is tremendous. People love it, especially the Halloween type land, or I'm not sure, remember what it is with the, Frankenstein and all that. It seems like it's getting unbelievable reviews and probably justified. But it's no different really than when Harry Potter took everything by storm, and that is very good and very popular, but the crowds still gravitate more to Disney. And I love when you were saying, it was you and Jason were talking about small ball. You're right, singles, doubles, they're bunting, they're moving runners over, they're steals, they're hit and run. Disney's doing what it has to do. And I think I've been down on them. I've been skeptical. And a lot of the times in the Discord, I'll bring up how Epcot, the Epcot redo in the front turned out so much differently than planned. But I think Disney I have faith too. They may have learned their lesson. You're going to see the parade's going to be fantastic. Like you said, they don't have to build a whole fifth gate. I think they're going to be up to speed with Cars Land. They're going to be up to speed with the Villains Land. We're going to get updates, I think, on how well they're doing to whet the appetite. How fast that new DVC is going up by Fort Wilderness. I mean, people are going to be excited about that, just like they are excited about the Wailuit, the tower at Polynesian. I think Disney's countering a little bit more than they even have to.
I agree. And I think as Disney fans, the talk's always been like, fifth gate, but I've always been one of those, and you're kind of the same way. And I think a lot of people too are this way. The fans like us that are kind of invested, but long-term fans, just fix what we have and maybe augment what we have. And I like, the Magic Kingdom is going to get more capacity. It's going to get a new land, Villains Land. It's going to get new experiences within other lands in the Magic Kingdom. And like you say, new. And now I wish every hotel didn't have to be a DVC hotel.
Agreed.
Agreed. I'm not DVC, so I'm saying that. But I mean, I stay in DVC hotels. Like I book Old Key West on cash because I just love it. Like anybody can book those hotels. They're great. But I would like to see them, throw a bone and throw up a moderate or a value, because I just think that would be, especially in these times, that would be throwing a bone to people who just, there's a lot of first timers. It's DVC isn't for everybody. I mean, not everybody's going to buy into a 30-year contract or 20-year contract. Nope. Like a lot of people just want to go and check it out and, to test the waters. And, I think, just like a new version of Pop Century, Pop Century is, it's like 20 years old. Like we think of it as brand new, but it's old, it's older.
Yeah. Yeah. And we have so little, like in the moderate category, which is such a nice category. We have 3, then they put the tower up, was the Grandestino Tower, and people love it. Like that would have been a good way to keep going.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I don't,
but they're doing,
I don't pull purse strings for Disney, but yeah.
I get it because they just see dollar signs with those DVC. Cause you're selling, when you sell those contracts for DVC in those, DVC hotels, man, it's just, it's a cash cow because like you have just that income coming in over and over and, it's like, it would be so hard not to do that. I get why they do that, but I just hope that they kind of see that there's different markets, because the thing is, like, you build a value in a moderate. Think about where a lot of those DVC people come from. They come for that first trip and they stay at All Star Music and they say, you know what, this place is pretty dang cool. And then they come back, a second or a third time and they see the bus that says, think about it for you. I remember I never bought into DVC, but I sure thought about it, and I saw the sign. You probably saw the same thing on the very back of the bus. What's Disney's best kept secret? And like you get curious about it, but that first trip's always, for a lot of people, it's always staying at All-Star Music or Port Orleans Riverside or, what have you. And I think that, I just think that I hope that they don't abandon like that 90s and early 2000s mentality that they've kind of like toyed with going back to some of those things in the past like year or so. And I hope that they kind of, do look at, kind of the glory days. To me, that is the glory days. And I know maybe it's not the glory days for everybody. I think maybe everybody's glory days are when they first started going. I think about that a lot. Like when I say the glory days, it's like when I first started going to Walt Disney World with my family. But I think that could be like if you started going in 2010, maybe the glory days for you at Walt Disney World's 2000, early 2010s. What do you think is the best time for Walt Disney World?
Well, I mean, my quick history is for as much as I love it, I didn't go till 2004 for the first time. My wife had always gone since a child in the 70s. And she's like, when our kids are over the right age, we're going to go. And I was, believe it or not, the person who was like, you know what? I've heard terrible things. This is going to be like boot camp. I'm going to need a vacation from the vacation. We walked into Magic Kingdom. Two of my kids went absolutely gaga and I was hooked. So I didn't start going through 2004. So my golden age, being the last 21 years, I do think the first 10 years were better than the last, especially with the paper fast pass and the Magical Express and those things. And it was exciting when Expedition Everest was getting built. And and this is something I love that you say, Mike, you always say it. You just said it in the past few shows that you recorded for us before you went on your cruise. I like every once in a while an add to, not a change of. So when you got something new, like in the beginning of those first 10 years, I went like an Expedition Everest, you could see it from everywhere on property and it just generated excitement. And I will say that. But I think that's not, I don't want to hang out in Negativeville. I think we could get back to a golden age. But like you said, by looking at what made it more exciting, if the 90s were more exciting for you, right, they're going to have hopefully no spoilers. I don't know anything about it. And I'm like you, Mike, I don't want to watch anybody else's POV video of the new test track. But I think I quickly read, I think Jason said something about, like a touch to World of Motion in the test track 3.0. That's a good for us people who found the 90s or whatever time period was good. For me, it's 05 to 14. I would love to see the Year of a Million Dreams again, some celebration like that where people were running around with the little necklaces and a little free tab for a free fast pass, things that just generated excitement. Those things could bring that back. And I don't think it's going to get only worse from here. I think we've hit a bottom. I think it's going to go up.
No, I'm with you. I'm with you. I mean, and the thing was, it was such a weird time too. Like it bottomed out during COVID to me, like right around, I mean, like to me, the world bottomed out at the same time that the Disney stuff bottomed out. Right. I mean, it was just like, and I think I've said this on the show. Maybe I just told Scott, I have a hoodie from Walt Disney World. And I think a lot of us might have it. It's from the 50th. It's a yellow Walt Disney World hoodie that they sold during the 50th. And I got it when I was down there because we were down there on the 50th anniversary that night, October 1st. Remember watching the fireworks that night because I had to be there for the 50th and I got the hoodie, but I've never worn it like in the last like 4 years because it just like, I feel like it has bad mojo. Like it sits in my closet and I just don't want to remember those times. Like it's just, I feel like we're coming out of it.
You're not giving it the opportunity.
Oh, well, maybe, but it's just like it, like I just feel like it was, because I still look back and I think of like, when you were in the queues, it was like being in a penalty box, with all the plexiglass and all that's, it's just, it wasn't, what it did was it took the place that was so precious to me. And I know the world was like this too, right? And it wasn't wasn't that like I didn't have to go there and see this. Like I just wanted to get out. I wanted to escape my house in St. Louis, Missouri to go to the place that I love so much. So I went down there with Scott right after the parks reopened and they were doing what they could to reopen the park. So I went there and saw all these modifications and stuff. And what it did was it was shocking to me. And I still have those like memories in my head of like, oh my gosh, like I wish I wouldn't, looking back in hindsight, I wish I wouldn't have seen it like that. You know what I'm saying? Because it was so weird, but I mean, it was wild because you didn't have, hardly anybody there. It was, like, I'm one of those people like, I want to be a part of history all the time. Like I want to be there for the 50th. I was there for the 40th in Magic Kingdom on October 1st. I don't want to miss out like on historical events, but that one, that hoodie just sits. But I'm never going to sell it, right? Because
Yeah.
it is like a time and place kind of thing. I love having that kind of stuff. But yeah, I think we did bottom out, and I think good days are coming. And I think this time next Sunday night is going to be a celebration, because I think this parade coming back is it's a big turning point. Like I think the Magic Kingdom needs a nighttime parade, and Lord have mercy, we're getting one in a week. I think it's going to be great.
Oh, I agree. What's funny is I was just down there with my granddaughters. We had a extended family trip, and one of my granddaughters, just around here, like if you went to, like, for example, like the Easter Bunny, like things to go visit that look like characters, she was terrified. My one fell right into it. The other one was a little standoffish, and we were really worried about what was going to be the right meet and greet for her. If characters are going to approach her, should we go face characters or not? But it really opened her eyes that when we sat even for the afternoon parade at Magic Kingdom, she lit up, waving to all the characters, loved them at that perspective. So for a child who maybe doesn't want the face-to-face meet and greets, every age can enjoy a parade, and the nighttime parade is just going to be a big hit.
Agreed. And it leaves you happy. A nighttime parade is like what you see to kind of wrap a great day. You see the parade, you see some fireworks, you grab an ice cream, you go home, everybody's happy. Like, it's a perfect ending to a great day. Love it. All right, well, I'm going to have you jump off here, try to get some calls in. But Paul, good talking to you, and hopefully Billy can get you those Coke bottles.
Oh, yeah, thanks, Mike. You take care. You have a great week.
Yeah, I'll talk to you soon, buddy. Thanks. See ya. Bye. All right, let's see here. 407-584-7173. And if you don't know, come over to the Discord. Billy's trying to get him some Coke bottles. All right, let's make sure we got this all set up here. And I think we have it. And let's see here. All right, 407-584-7173 is the number. You can give us a call, and we shall talk Disney tonight. All right, and let's see here. Yeah, Croc Rum. I think we did have a Star Wars hotel where you stayed about 2 or 3 nights. Didn't stay at the Death Star, but it was close to what you're saying there. So that was fun. Ian, can't wait to talk about the Magic. Hey, call in. I can answer some questions, but I'm saving like the big Trip Report show till Scott gets back, because our stories we got to share together, and he's in the air. All right, we have a call here. Let's get this. Let's hit this. Let's do this. And I think we're good here. Let's see. I think I got it. Caller, you there?
Hey, Mike, this is Fulton.
Hey, Fulton, what you got? What's your question?
Well, I was wondering if you guys are doing the Starlight Dream Parade that's coming on my birthday on July 20th.
Yeah, we're gonna have that parade. It'll be next Sunday night. It debuts at the Magic Kingdom, the Starlight Parade.
That's on my birthday, Mike.
Oh, wow! Hey, happy birthday next Sunday night. That's awesome.
Thank you. Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fantastic one for me. So
they're bringing the parade back for your birthday. I love it.
I know, right? That's what I was thinking. So
I never get anything cool like that for sometimes my birthday this year is on Thanksgiving, so I get turkey.
Nice.
And stuffing and maybe a cake. We'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's go. So when
I don't know what I'm going to do for my birthday. I'm just going to spend time seeing my friends and everything. So
that's what you should do. I mean, maybe watch a live stream of the parade. I'm sure somebody will have it online somewhere. Check it out.
Yeah. It'll be good.
You're pretty tech savvy. You'll figure it out. I know you.
Yeah, that's why I'm a famous man, Mike. So.
You are famous and you're tech savvy. You'll have a live stream going. You'll figure it out. You'll get it.
I'll try. Yeah, I'll try.
All right, wait, we'll be here. So give me a call and let me know what you think if you see it. Well, I don't know if it'll be going yet. We'll be the pre-show for the parade. But we'll wish you a happy birthday next week.
Thank you, Mike.
All right, have a good one. Talk to you. Take care out in Indiana. See ya. Bye.
Thanks.
All right. 407-584-7173. I think, let's see here. I think we had some calling from the 636 here too, which is the area code that I am in. So let's get this one. Call back if we drop you there. We had 2 coming at the same time. 407-584-7173. It happens. The phone lines get all lit up at the same time, which I love. It's great when we have lots of calls. Let's see. Patrick says the parade does make me excited to go back, so it's a draw for future trips. Same. My problem is I keep going for Run Disney weekends, which nighttime parades and fireworks shows and Run Disney weekends, they don't work well together when you got to be up at 2:30 in the morning. But man, I got to see this parade. I might have to go down before that just to see the parade. All right, 475-847-173 is the number to call. Yeah, Year of a Million Dreams. I think that would be something that if Disney brought it back, Carolyn says she loved it. Here's the call. I grab this and hit this, and do this. It'd be a home run if Year of a Million Dreams comes back. All right, caller, who's there?
Hey, it's Paul from Lake St. Louis. How's it going?
Hey, Paul, what's going on? Down the road a bit, just about 5 minutes down the road. What's up?
So I missed a lot of the intro, so I missed some of the topics, but I did hear about Epic Universe and stuff.
Yeah,
and
what do you think?
I think one of the reasons it might be struggling is I just don't think they timed it right. I think they waited too long from after the Super Mario Brothers movie, and they didn't really advertise the How to Train Your Dragon enough, where it just kind of fizzled out before they actually grand opened. Like the marketing just wasn't there at the right time.
I'm not I don't like play Nintendo or know any of that. I know I sound like terribly old, but like that, see that generation missed me by like a blink, right? I was like a Commodore 64 guy and I never had a Nintendo. I didn't have a Nintendo because my dad always said, and this is, I shouldn't even say this out loud, but I mean, I think the statute of limitations has run out. I had a Commodore 64, so I just downloaded all my software like from BBS's, so I never had to buy cartridges. So it was like all my games were free.
You just and that's how I was too.
Okay, good.
I was an NES kid, but my son is a hardcore Mario kid. 10 years old,
right?
And the Super Mario Brothers movie came out almost 2 years ago at this point in time, and he was, he had drank the sauce hard then, but it's kind of run its course already. And with no new material, I feel like they kind of lost their steam for the advertising that would have been accompanying Epic Universe with Super Mario Land.
So do you not think that it has kind of the like stickiness of say like a Harry Potter, I think. And again, I just don't get into the Harry Potter stuff. I was a teacher when that stuff was super hot. Like, you really weren't a great teacher unless you were reading the Harry Potter books. I taught 6th grade. Like you really were doing a disservice if you didn't read the books to your kids. And I didn't, but because I just couldn't get through them. But like, I feel like Harry Potter like had a stickiness that it was going to be forever. And it still is, right? I mean, that was 20 years ago. I mean, like maybe that doesn't have it.
Thing where, as a 40-something year old, it was real big for, 10 years ago it was really big. And I feel like it's still popular. Don't get me wrong, but not with as younger. Like I can't get my 10-year-old to watch Harry Potter to save his life. And I watched them all, and my wife watched them all, but I just don't think that the wave was strong enough to carry them through this event. When they came out with, Hagrid's and with the other part, Diagon Alley, however many years ago that was, it was still kind of at its peak. And introducing a new land, I feel like it's just kind of lost its pizzazz, for lack of a better term.
Well, so what does your family think though of Epic as far as a park? I mean, you got that celestial park in the middle, kind of the entrance, and you got the portals, and you got like as far as attractions, like, I mean, you got those cool, experiences with like the monster attractions, which are getting all the rave, as far as just like an attraction being awesome, but you have the Super Mario stuff. You have How to Train Your Dragon. I mean, even as far as the IP, excluding that, is the family excited to go there just to have fun on the attractions, the coaster itself, stuff like that?
Well, we are going in October and they are excited to go, but it wasn't like it was, when the Super Mario Brothers movie first came out. They were watching the videos about it in California, Universal Studios Hollywood. And they're like, let's go. And we're like, well, we're waiting for the Florida one. And now that it's here, it's passed. And we're still going in October, but they're excited, but they aren't asking about it like they were 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So I don't know if if it's just my kids, maybe they're just lame. I don't know.
I doubt it. No, I doubt that. But I was wondering too if, and I think Universal was playing the long game, and I think I think they were being conservative, and I think that this is kind of how I would play it myself, because I'm very much like this. Like, I don't make changes to the podcast, like equipment or anything like this. Like, I've always been with my dad. My dad will like come over here because he kind of like does, when anything breaks, I have him fix things. And whenever he comes over and like says, like, I have something new, you should try this for this. I'm like, don't touch anything. Like, everything is working. Like, we've done 2,800 shows. Everything works. Like, I like it. Don't touch anything. Like, it just works. So, but I was wondering if like they're playing the long game, because they did all those previews like forever. And then there just felt like, there was hype, but the hype was like so spread out where, by the time May came around and it opened, it just was like, well, it's the third park over at Universal. And, I think Disney kind of got lucky there. And Disney scored a couple of small wins. And I think if they continue to keep getting the wins, I think that now it feels like everything's back to being like it was, like I thought, like at the end of this summer, the middle of this summer, I thought it was going to be Universal up here and Disney down here just for a little. And then the scales were going to have to kind of slowly work their way back to even. But right now, I think they're back to even already. It's a weird thing.
Agreed. And I do think Disney needs to do something to reinforce its bubble.
I agree with that.
Stop people from thinking about going to Universal. They've already started testing their version of Magical Express, but getting luggage straight to the rooms, for example, to keep people locked in, as opposed to easily Ubering or lifting out to get to Universal. Let's give them an extra reason to stay inside the bubble.
Let me ask you about that, because, you're a Disney fan. I'm a Disney fan. We're from St. Louis, we're from the middle of the country. Like, is somebody who, I do work and travel, but I'm not Disney doesn't ask me any, they don't ask my opinion on things. I just don't understand, because you just nailed it, why they don't, what it all costs, have something like Magical Express. I know that it's a logistical thing probably, but they did it for over a decade. And I just think it was the best play ever, because obviously you're talking about it. And I've talked to so many people that I've worked with at the travel agency, and just folks that listen to the show, friends, casual people. One of the greatest things Disney ever had going for it, and this was what truly made the Disney difference. And like, people called it magical, and it was. I mean, it was magical. It was people doing this behind the scenes, but it felt magical. Was that when we took our luggage to Lambert Airport here in St. Louis, we drop it off, and that stuff would magically show up, bam, in our room at Coronado Springs or Riverside or Riviera, wherever it was. There's no other vacation like we didn't have to mess with it. And then at the end of the trip, you would take it down to Bell Services, and then you wouldn't pick it up till you got back to your airport. I mean, that was cool. Like, that was a huge thing. And you never rented a car. You got on Magical Express, and I never left property ever. But now you're tempted because Uber and renting a car, you nailed it. Like, it gives you a reason to go to Universal, to go check out, go to the Space Coast, go do other things. And I don't know why Disney's not like, why did they change? Philosophically, for the life of me, I don't know why they thought that was a good idea.
I think at the end of the day, it boiled down to a contract expiring. And when it came to renewals, something just stalled out. And it wasn't, someone above my pay grade made that decision. But what I think, if they were to offer shuttles to, you're going to go off property, but it's still going to stop it from going to your competition. Let's just say, hypothetically, how many people go to those premium outlet malls right there? Maybe from Disney Springs, they start offering Disney provided, shuttles to keep people within reach, but away from the competition.
That's a good idea. Yeah. Yeah. For the Europeans. Yeah. Because I went to one of those things. That was the worst decision in my life, but yeah, if you want to go there.
I mean, I have two, and you wait in line for 20 minutes just to get in the door. But,
I hate shopping.
But people still want to go there, and if they're going to Uber out to go somewhere like that, they're going to Uber out to go somewhere else as well. Yeah. So if you could just keep them, give them just like walking a dog, you give them just enough slack on their leash to keep them interested, but away from, going all the way out to Universal, or, heck, I'm not shy about it. I've stayed at Saratoga a dozen times, and I've walked over down the Disney Springs Resort, and there's great restaurants down there. I mean, the last time I was down there, I went to, it's called El Patron right there, and I sat at the bar. I was actually on a solo trip because I did the springtime surprise run. I sat next to this, 80-plus-year-old woman who ended up chatting about how her husband was the general contractor for the conference centers at both Grand Floridian and Contemporary. And it was awesome. But, like, what would Disney do to, like, run a shuttle to and from different restaurants versus just Disney Springs? And it doesn't need to be from the resorts, but, again, keep them within reach, but not run them to Universal type thing.
Yeah, it's an interesting thought. I mean, because the Disney bubble, I mean, that term was coined, I don't know when, 15, 20 years ago, but it was real. Like I made sure, I mean, that was like a mental thing for me. I made sure, like, I remember there was one time where, like, Mallory was real little, she's going to be a senior this year, but she was, little, and like she got sick during our trip. And we had to go to a Walgreens during the vacation to get her some medicine. And I was kind of bummed, right? Because because we drove back then. I was scared to fly because we would actually drive in, and I would leave the car at our, like we'd say at Pop Century, and I just leave the car, and we never drove from the moment we got there because I wanted to preserve that Disney bubble experience while we were there the whole time. And we'd only take Disney transportation, but she got sick. So we had to get in the car and drive to like a Walgreens outside of Disney Springs. And I was just like kind of bummed that, oh man, I'm leaving the bubble during my Disney experience because I want this whole thing to be in the bubble. And yeah, Disney's kind of, like, I don't know if they realize what a big deal that is, that, especially, here's the thing too, real quick on this, and I'll cut you loose, but if you think about Universal does hotels really, really well. I don't know if people know this, like if you've never been over to Universal, but like Cabana Bay is really nice. Hard Rock Hotel, Sapphire Falls is really nice. I mean, I'll be honest, like the parks are fun, but their hotels are really good. They're Lowe's hotels. And I just don't know if like Disney wants people to go over there and check out the restaurants in their hotels. Like you see them, like you said, I wouldn't want the chance of exposure. If you can keep people, not peeking over that wall, I would pay a premium to make sure that doesn't happen. But again, I'm not a businessman, but that would be what I'd do.
Yeah.
I'm not that smart.
I got two other things.
Yeah.
Before I cut you loose, I was listening to yours and Jason and Scott's Oddsmakers just yesterday, and you were talking about sports apparel like the SEC and stuff like that, and it made me think about, we've been season pass holders for. Well, we were a couple of years ago, and we crammed a bunch of trips in that one year and then kind of took a break. But to stop the trips from getting stale, we had our kids create bingo cards for while we were at the parks. Nice. And they had them on their phones. And like, sometimes it would be like, see someone my wife and I, we went to Purdue, so we're big 10 people, but it would be see someone in Big Ten apparel, or, kidnapping in a stroller, or matching shirts.
I love this.
And we would just go through and we would make random bingo cards. Each kid would pick out a bunch of stuff that they were trying to see on that trip, and they would kind of keep track of it as the thing goes on. So my question would be, for maybe a later time, what would you put on your bingo card to make the trip more interesting? Stuff you would watch out for in the park, whether it be, a kid having a meltdown, or someone carrying more bags than there are people in their party, things along those lines.
Oh, dude, I think this is Friday. I think this is going to be Friday's show. Bingo.
when you talk about the Oddsmakers and like who was wearing sports apparel, I was like, oh man, I think I need to call in and tell them just to keep the trip interesting. And it always turns into a good time because the kids are like, oh, I just saw this. Do you have this on your bingo card? And if they didn't make the right one, they'd be like, no, not this time, but I had it the last time type scenario. The whole matching shirts, or, there's always that one shirt that says I paid for this trip, or yes, I picked all the stuff out for this trip, things along those lines.
Most expensive day ever. I hate those shirts. Like, come on, yeah. we all know it's expensive. We're here to have a good time. Exactly. Yeah. But you got to see them.
I do. But we always, sometimes it's AFC or NFC apparel, things along those lines, and that always makes it a fun. We call them the bingo card days.
I love that. You get the free
Because of
space
that.
in the middle for the LSU fan because you see them every time. Like it takes 2 seconds.
Exactly. And then I lied. I still have one more thing.
Yeah, go ahead. That's why we're here.
About resorts. I do think a resort at the ESPN Center would be awesome if they were to do something like that, because then they could open it up to like so many more tournaments, baseball, soccer, whatever it might be. I think that would be really cool. But while, you know, you were talking about odds of them getting another moderate or value resort, I think I'm in the minority here. I would love to see a deluxe resort. You know, I'm spoiled. I'm a DVC member, so we stay at Riviera a lot. I would love to see a deluxe resort with that Pop Century or Art of Animation in your face Disney atmosphere.
Ooh.
Like I miss that.
You know, how would this look? Okay, so how a deluxe resort with the Disney in your face. Okay, so how are we looking here?
You know, well, look at Grand Fleury and look at Polynesia and look at Riviera, Boardwalk, Beach Club, whatever.
It was like geographical.
They have their Disney aesthetics, you know, but it's a lot more low key.
Right.
Riviera has, you know, the nice pictures that are in that Mary Blair style. Beach Club, Yacht Club have the artwork. It's a lot more subtle. But I'm a huge Disney fan. I want to see Disney in my face when I go to my resorts, and you know, I would love to stay at a deluxe version of Pop Century or Art of Animation. And I'm kind of hoping that, like, when they start doing maybe the tower across from Wilderness Lodge, they would get a little bit more loud with the decoration for a deluxe resort and stuff.
Yeah, because over the last 10 years, they've gotten more and more like subtle with things, with everything. Even in Pop Century, they took a lot of the color out and like made it even more subtle at Pop. Like in the rooms, Carolyn, first thing I thought was Pixar Place at Disneyland. Like that's kind of a deluxe hotel. I guess it is a deluxe hotel, and it's got a lot of, you know, bright colors, Disney, a lot of the obviously Pixar theme with, you know, Joe Gardner playing the piano down in the lobby, a lot of the characters. I guess the most we'd have at Walt Disney. Do you think the most like deluxe Disney, like in your face themed hotel would be the Contemporary?
Yeah, that's where I would say it would be.
Yeah.
You know, with the monorail and everything. But a lot of people who end up in DVC and deluxe resorts started at your All Stars, your Pop Centuries, your Art of Animation. And that's what hooked them. And then they kind of, for less, you know, they quote unquote upgrade. And then they lose the vibrance of, you know, art. And every time I stay at Riviera, I find myself saying, I got to take the Skyliner down to Art and Pop to get that in your face thing. You know, I don't miss the smaller rooms, and I don't miss the food court style quick service, but I miss the in your face, you know, the big statues, the Roger Rabbit, the Baloo, the bear. You know, you don't get that stuff at the other ones anymore. It is kind of a bummer for me.
That's a great idea. I mean, I'll tell you what though, that is thinking outside the box because I feel like Disney's like,
well, that's why I think I'm in the minority on that one.
You are. I'll be honest. Like I'm not trying to blow smoke here because I think you're in the minority there, but I think that you nailed it, because the folks who buy into DVC, and I said this earlier, right? I mean, they came for the first time. They stayed at All Star Sports. They stayed at, you know, movies. They stayed at Riverside, and they kind of graduated up. But why did you go to Walt Disney World in the first place? Because you probably liked, you know, Cinderella. You probably liked Toy Story. You wanted, you know, there was some reason why you went. So I don't think you're going to be averse to having Disney all over your hotel. You're not. I always tell my wife, like with things like this, you're not buying a house there. You're going to be there for a week. So it's okay if it can be loud and gaudy. Like it's not going to be your house. It's going to be your hotel room, you know? So it's fun for a week. Like you're not staying there for 30 years. Now Disney, but I think Disney worries because it's going to be there for 30 years, but it's not going to be for the guests for 30 years. You know, sometimes they get so conservative on these refurbs with how subtle they make things. Like, you know, the 90s were kind of wild and gaudy, but I kind of liked it. You know, things come back around.
Maybe that Michael Eisner popping them.
Exactly, like the old Taco Bell look. Exactly. You know, the pinks and the blue. I don't know if we need all that, but yeah, I mean, we could have a compromise there. I never even thought about that idea. I love that, a deluxe. It's kind of the all-in Disney. Yeah, we need to make this happen. I like it. Good call.
All right. Well, that's all I got for tonight.
All right. Well, hey, have a good
bingo card thing was the main thing.
Hey.
I love that, doing that with the family.
Great thoughts tonight. I appreciate you taking the time to call in.
All right, Mike. You have a good rest of your night.
You too. Talk to you soon. All right. See you later. Bye-bye. All right. 407-584-7173 is the number. What a great idea for a Disney hotel that's like all in a deluxe, that's all in like a Pop Century or like a Art of Animation, celebrating Disney with the big icons. I like it. Because could you not be fancy and a big time Disney fan at the same time? I mean, do you have to be a poor person to like the big icons? I don't know. Yeah. What made that correlation? And really at this point, you're not a poor person if you're staying at Pop Century. I'm telling you, it's not cheap. All right. 407-584-7173. Yes. Bring back Michael Eisner. What's he up to? I think he's running a soccer team or something like that. Veronica, the hot tape. If the Contemporary is anywhere else on Disney property, not on the monorail loop, I think it'd be a moderate. I don't know though. Those rooms are big and nice. I just stayed there last month and I love those rooms. Those rooms were so sweet, especially now they have the Incredibles remodel. Oh man, that room was awesome. I was in the garden wing and I loved it. Felt pretty good to me. And the dining, Steakhouse 71, you got California Grill, you have Chef Mick. I'd say it's a deluxe. I'd have to disagree there. Because the monorail going down the heart of it definitely makes it. But I guess you're saying not the monorail, but yeah, it's a pretty sweet hotel. It's pretty dang nice. It's at least as nice as Wilderness Lodge. All right, 407-584-7173. Man, great. I'm going to be stewing on that call for a while. And I love the bingo card idea. We should all make a bingo card for our next trip and be like, do you have the woman in the high heels at Epcot on your bingo card? Because there she is trancing through Germany. How bad do her feet hurt? She's got to be a first timer. Bingo. Because how many times have we seen that? Like, how does that person make it through World Showcase, but they have on high heels? Like, my feet are hurting and I have on Hoka's. I don't know. That's me. So make a bingo. I think we have to do that for Friday's show. I'm going to have to see who's available. I think Ricky's going to be here. Maybe I could beg Scott. I don't know. We'll see. All right. Steve says hot take. I'll get heat for this, but I'd say Disney should have got rid of It's a Small World for Frozen and kept Maelstrom. Wait, what? Should have gotten rid of It's a Small World for Frozen? I didn't say that. That would be Steve on Facebook. You can find him. I'm not going to give his last name because I don't want him getting all that heat. I like It's a Small World. I'm not the biggest Frozen fan. Frozen's okay, but I don't know if it's better than It's a Small World. I do like Maelstrom, though. Maelstrom was awesome. I wish we still had that around. I'll see here. Veronica says, maybe they need to stay again. They did Bay Lake Tower and Theme Park View was awesome, but we did not love staying there as much as the others. Now I've never stayed at Bay Lake Tower, but I will say, and this is just from what I've heard from other people, I think the Contemporary is better than Bay Lake Tower. I've heard that from people. Stay in the tower rather than Bay Lake Tower, like the A-frame. I think it's better for Disney fans like us. We're a little bit different. All right. Claire has a question over on Instagram. I'm about to stay at Coronado for the first time with a baby and a 6-year-old. What do you think? You're going to have a great time. Coronado has great dining. You're going to love the dig site pool. It's great. The buses are awesome there because you're really close to all 4 parks, kind of centrally located. You split the difference. You're not far from any of the parks. You're right across the way from the studios. You're pretty close to Epcot. Magic Kingdom's just down World Drive. Animal Kingdom's not far away. It's beautiful. It's got great rooms. You picked a great park, Claire. Great resort there. You're gonna love it. Coronado is just a great place to go. And Olive Olin said boiler up on that last call, by the way. Let's see here. Paul says, Paul said they have kids cards and adult cards, which I appreciate. That make it a way more fun game, I can imagine. I love that. Let's see here. So 407-584-7173. We have about 5 minutes till the top of the hour, and we can probably sneak in one more call if you like. So give me a call if you like. And Sean says, have to agree, the view from Bay Lake rooms are great, but other than that, it's just a plain hotel. I hear that over and over, which, I mean, again, they say location, location, location. And I felt that when I stayed at the Contemporary last month. I kept telling Pam on the phone, because she wasn't there with me, that it gave me so many Disneyland hotel vibes, because at Disneyland Hotel, you just easily walk to DCA and in Disneyland Park. You just right through downtown Disney and you're there. You're back and forth. And that's how it was with Magic Kingdom. Those 3 days I was there, just back and forth. But also, like at the Contemporary, it's very much Disneyland Hotel, with celebrating the history of Disney, with the Mary Blair look in the lobby of the tower of the main part of the Contemporary. Steakhouse 71 has all those pictures around it of the building of the Magic Kingdom. It just felt very Disneyland Hotel. And I'll tell you, Disneyland Hotel is probably my favorite hotel of them all, for the history, just for the proximity to the two parks out in California. I just love it. In the central hub of the Disneyland Hotel, where it feels like the Polynesian to me. It's got those tropical vibes. It's got the monorail slide. It's got Trader Sam's, Tangaroa Terrace. It's just got it all going on for me. I love Disneyland Hotel so very much. And the Contemporary feels very much like that, especially on the back. You got the sandbar, the nice pool back there. And then it looks out to Bay Lake, and you got the boats back there. A lot going on. So you can't really go wrong with the Contemporary. I do like it a lot. And I mean, who doesn't love a monorail cruising through your park? All right. So 407-584-7173. And it looks like we have our last call of the night. There it was. I knew if I said it one more time, we'd get one. So let's do this. Let's do this and hit this. And we have a last caller. Hey, who's this?
Hey, Mike, this is Patrick from Wisconsin, fellow teacher.
Hey, Patrick. Well, you're not. You're summer. You're a resting teacher. What's up?
Oh yeah. It's the hardest part about teaching is you get this amazing time, but it's not realistic, because nobody can really, any other job, just take like two months off and get back to work.
Dude, I hear you. And when I used to be a teacher, like once 4th of July hit, then I started getting, like, somebody mentioned the Sunday scaries at the very top of the show.
Yeah.
Like, dude, once I hit the 4th of July, I started getting like the August scaries. Like, I was like, oh man.
Yeah. And I heard you say that. So you said, oh, I used to. And in my head, I'm like, yep, when he's a teacher, probably.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, now I work, like, my job is exactly the same 7 days a week. Like, there's no difference other than, like, on Mondays, I record 2 podcasts. On Wednesdays, I record 1. On Sundays, I do 2 shows. But other than that, it just depends on where we go to eat at night. That's basically the only difference in my life. So
Dairy Queen or Taco Bell.
Yeah, exactly. Is it Taco Bell night, or is it Brass Rail night, or is it El Azteca night? There's not much difference. It's a real exciting life here in Missouri. Not much going on. So how are things up in Wisconsin?
Oh, they're going good. It's been a pretty good summer.
Good.
We took a Disney trip, me and my wife. We just had a daughter 9 months ago, and then
Congratulations.
My sister and brother-in-law and their kids. We took one at the beginning of June. It was right after school was over.
Oh, I think I heard
that. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You definitely, did.
A little future podcaster there. Very nice.
But anyway, coming back from it after that Orlando heat, I just feel like even on a hot day here, I'll step outside for a morning run and I'm like, oh, it's like Orlando. That's not a big deal.
Yeah, okay. I know. It's all relative because it beats you down quick down there.
It does. I just wanted to call and talk about, I try not to weigh in too much on opinions because I feel like other people are much more experienced and nuanced their Disney takes.
No,
but
I love opinions from everybody's perspective because you can be a newbie to this, you can be in the middle, you can be somebody. There's so many people that have more informed opinions than I have. I just like that we have a forum that we can all share from our own perspective. So what do you got?
So I thought it was interesting how you talked about how are people's golden age of Disney based on when they go with their kids. So my niece and nephew, who are 8 and 6 years old, they've been to Disney a few times now because my sister is a DVC. But I think it's just because we went together as a family this time. They will not, for 2 months, they've talked about this trip ever since we've come back. Or a month and a half now, I guess. But they just cannot stop going on about it. Anytime a picture shows up on our phone, or sometimes like I'll sync the pictures on my phone to our TV screensaver. And anytime I go over there, we'll play like Disney games where they'll talk about like, hey, if you're at Disney right now, like what would you be doing? They just won't stop talking about it. So it just made me think about that. I was like, to them, they don't know anything else. And I don't know anything else. Wasn't going to Disney in the early 2000s, or my family didn't go like all the time. I went like one time as a kid. I went to Magic Kingdom for one day, and then I went to Epcot a few years later for one day. That's all I knew.
That's a super great point. And I didn't even think about that, but I'm glad you brought this up, because that is something that we all need to clarify and think about, because like if you never experience Spectrum Magic, then you don't care. Like you don't have it doesn't bother you. It doesn't affect you. Like you don't have like Illuminations. It was awesome to me because I remember like being there with friends at the turn of the millennium, like 1999, 2000. It was a wild time. Like we made great memories. Like immediately hearing that music takes me back to those days, but also it takes me back to a time in my life where I didn't have as many responsibilities, right? I wasn't working 7 days a week. I could go back and life was easier. Life was simpler back then. We weren't like connected to social media all the time. It just felt like life was slower. And so I think a lot of that, it doesn't even necessarily have to do with Disney all the time. It just takes us back to like a simpler time in our life. And, like with Spectrum Magic, the same way. Our first trips, Mallory wasn't even around. Paige was like 5 or 6. And Pam and I were both teachers. We had nothing to do in the summer. We just had the whole 2 months off. So we go down for like 2 weeks and stay at All-Star Sports as cheap as we could. And it was cheap back then. And we would just stay out till like, midnight and just watch the parade, go ride the rides. And, we didn't have a care in the world. We didn't know what we were doing. I mean, we really didn't. We honestly, God, we had no idea what we were doing, but we'd stay and watch that parade. We'd watch it twice. We'd watch it the first time, watch it the second time, and just loved it and just ate it up. So I think that's where we made those memories that we didn't know what we were doing, but we just knew we loved watching the parade, the fireworks, eating an ice cream. And to us, those were the good old days. But you're right. If you didn't see it, it's kind of like my grandpa would always talk about Stan Musial, in St. Louis Cardinals, and how great of a ball player he was. I never saw him play, so I don't know, but like to me, like Adam Wainwright, Albert Pujols, amazing, because they were my generation of players. So I think that's exactly what you're saying. Like, you appreciate what you get to see. And that's a great point to bring up.
Yeah. I like the baseball analogy because me being a Brewers fan, it was
Ryan Braun. We're not going to talk Ryan Braun though. Let's go there.
No. But the early 2000s, they started to get like competitive. They made the playoffs maybe twice, but I look back on that and I'm like, yeah, those are the guys that I watch.
No, I like the Brewers are fine. I like the Brewers. Okay. We're not talking the Cubs, but yeah.
We can agree. We can agree on something.
Exactly. No, that's a great point, because, somebody that's coming into this right now. I mean, how amazing is Walt Disney World? Even if like you just gone the last few years, like, I mean, it's a magical place. Holy cow. There's castles, there's princesses, and there's, all these great rides. I mean, you go on Flight of Passage, blows your mind. Guardians of the Galaxy blows your mind. Mickey's and Minnie's Runaway Railway. I mean, I think it gets skewed. Because
I was that guy when my wife convinced me to run the marathon a couple of years ago. I was like, how much are we spending? I don't need to go there. And I'm the one who, once we got back, I was like, man, I'm depressed. Why am I so depressed? Because I loved it there. We need to go back.
Yeah. I mean, that is a good thing to think about, is that, we can't, for those of us that have been lucky enough to go for like, the last 20 years or so and have seen things come and go, and it'll happen, even the folks who be like you that are kind of new to this whole thing, Yeah, eventually you're going to get nailed by this. It's going to be hopefully later than rather than sooner, but who knows? Like one of your favorite things will be like, hey, guess what? It's going away. And you're gonna be like, no, because I thought my stuff would be here forever too, but here I am old and it's going to hurt, but just, roll with it and just, it's still an awesome place. We get new cool stuff all the time and I miss things, but it's life, right? It's just how it goes. It's just
for sure. And so I think your takes are spot on. One thing that I feel like you mentioned how you're not into Harry Potter, so there's less motivation to go. I've done like some walkthrough YouTube videos on Epic Universe and specifically Isle of Berk, and which is the How to Train Your Dragon. And I'm like, wow, some of this stuff's cool. I'll probably never go there because I'm not into any of it. So like if I happen to someday, maybe I'll get the want to do that. But I just feel like that's somewhat the danger of IP sometimes. That's just movie generated. And especially when I think Disney, like my favorite parts about the parks are the things that I can only do there. I can't see them anywhere else. I can't watch a movie with Space Mountain in it, or the People Mover isn't in some Disney cartoon. Like I can only do it when I go there.
Right. And I'm with you. Like, and I know that they've over the last 10 years, and they've expressly said it, that they're only going to make attractions based on IP. But I still think that, I hate that. Like, why can't you just have an Expedition Everest, that doesn't have a movie? Because that's that's just a cool experience when you're at, like I said, when you're at the theme park or Space Mountain, and you don't have to make a movie about it. We don't have to make some kind of 7-movie franchise. Pirates is cool. Right. I mean, Pirates is cool, but I know they made all the movies about it and the movies were awesome and they made $1 gajillion, but like Pirates is just a cool ride, Jungle Cruise. I mean, like I'm naming all these things, but then they made all the movies about them. Jungle Cruise was cool by itself. But like you said, I just wish they would just make, attractions. Like Seven Dwarfs Mine Train was cool. Like you didn't have to, there was no movie there. It was a school ride.
Mm-hmm. No, and that's what I was excited about with this train character, Whimsy in the show. Boom. And I was like, oh, cool. Like at a park, like just IP that's only to park, like a Figment. Yeah. There's no way they thought Figment was going to be this big.
Yeah, this thing's going to be popular because Disney fans like this kind of stuff. And I mean, this parade, I just have a stinking feeling this parade is going to be, there's been a thirst for this kind of a parade. And I mean, you give it like its own little cute little character. This thing's going to be like, it could be Figment on steroids. I'm just saying, like, it's got a cute little name. And I mean, it's going to be like leading this parade and this thing it's Disney. They got to have some kind of plush ready, I hope, or something. Like people are going to want to buy stuff.
You and Jason said singles and doubles, and then I watched the We Call It Imagineering YouTube about this, and I was kind of thinking the same thing. This might be a nice single or double, and then I watched that, and I was like, this could be a triple. This looks fun.
Plug the gap. There you go. We'll see.
Yeah.
That's cool. I can't wait to see it. I think, because again, it's one of those things that it's been missing for a long time. And like I was telling Paul, is that it's you want your guests to leave the park with such a happy feeling in their heart. Like whether it's the last day of their trip or just the last thing they do on the night of, their day, is if you leave the park, because I always leave Disneyland with an ice cream in my hand. Well, here's the thing at Disneyland, right? You can mobile order your ice cream from Gibson Girl. Have you been to Disneyland Park?
No, but I've got Disneyland fever right now.
Okay, so I'm just telling you, they have this thing. So their ice cream parlors halfway down Main Street. Okay, so it's not like on the end like at Magic Kingdom. It's halfway down Main Street on the right as you're walking out. It's called Gibson Girl, and you can mobile order your ice cream. So that is the biggest hack. So anytime I leave in Disneyland Park, I mobile order a 2-scoop ice cream cone. And it's like a $10 tax for me just to leave the theme park, right? Because every time I leave, I order it costs me $10 to leave the park. I get my mobile order, boom, walk into Gibson Girl. I'm here, get my ice cream cone, and I just walk out happy. Like I mean, dude, you're walking out of Disneyland Park with an ice cream cone, like walking back to your hotel, whether it's Disneyland or Hojo Hotel, whatever. Dude, I'm a 50-year-old dude walking with ice cream run down my face like I'm 10. And I am the happiest person I just spent the day at Disneyland and I have ice cream walking back to go to bed. And Disneyland has got 10 more bucks out of me. Like, I mean, everybody wins. It's the perfect thing. But I mean, I think with this parade, you're going to be able to now leave with fireworks, a nighttime parade, a catchy tune in your heart, like these characters that are going to make eye contact with you, whether it's a princess, a dancer, your favorite, Aladdin, Jasmine, whoever it is, like the kids are going to all go nuts. It's just going to be such a win. I just have a feeling.
Yeah. And you didn't need to do that about Disneyland because I've got fever.
It's so awesome, dude. It is, but I'm telling you, dude, I call it my tax. Like they get me, dude. They get $10 on me just to leave the park, and I'm happy to spend it every time. Every time. It's so cool. Well, hey, I appreciate the call, Patrick, and I hope you hang on to summer as long as you can.
Thanks for the show, Mike.
Anytime. You give me a call next Sunday. I'd love to talk to you.
Absolutely.
All right. Have a good
Take
one.
care.
Enjoy that baby. All right. Talk to you soon.
Yeah, thank
All
you.
right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. So we are going to put a wraps on tonight's show, but I want to thank everybody for being a part of the show and keeping me company here while Scotty G is up at 35,000 feet, and he'll be back next Sunday night. We'll have a good time talking about the cruise, and we'll do that this week on the shows because Scott's got to be here to tell the stories because I can't tell his stories. But I'm telling you what, man, there were water spouts. The rumor, look out, the sharks. Yes. Yeah, that happened. Snakes. Yes. There were good times, tastings. There were 2 visits to Palo. Just the rotational dining was excellent. The adult fun at after hours was amazing. Lots of stories will be told on the shows. So stand by for that, but don't forget, this show and every show is brought to you by our official sponsor, and that is the Magic for Less Travel. Come on over and let us book your next trip to a Disney destination. That's how we keep the show in the air. Whether you're headed to Walt Disney World, Disneyland, Disney Cruise Line, even Adventures by Disney to see the world, you can just swing by and put in that free no obligation quote today over at themagicforless.com. Costs you nothing extra. Coming over this week. We'd love to have you. Also, please use our Amazon affiliate link. It's beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. And you can become a patron of the show. It's patreon.com/beourguestpodcast. $5 a month is all it costs. And for that, you get a bonus show every week called Mike in the Midwest. We'd love to have your support. Thank you to everybody who already supports us over there. You guys are the best. You keep us going. Again, patreon.com/beourguestpodcast. Real quick, I want to give a huge shout out and a huge thank you to one of our very special listeners. It is listener Jordan Backus. He has helped us out on our Be Our Guest Podcast Clubhouse the past couple of weeks to make it so much more awesome than it's ever been. He gave us a boost, which is something Discord does for us. He gave us a boost, a little financial support over there. And then he brought in his talents to give us these extra icons and emoji and all this with all the resorts, the cruise ships and Disney thumbs ups and the Be Our Guest Podcast logos and cruise logos. And I'm telling you what, we got a podcast banner now on the Discord in the clubhouse. It has been amazing. So if you've never been over to the Be Our Guest Discord server, our clubhouse, you need to get over there ASAP. We've had probably 50 people join us this past week. It is popping. It is hopping. The conversation there, it just never stops. We have folks in the parks and the live channel, trivia channel. I mean, it is so much fun. It has been just a ton of fun, and it's free. It's for everybody. There's no nonsense over there, but I just want to thank Jordan for making the place 10 times better over the past couple of weeks because of his great work. He's the best. So thank you very much, Jordan. Coming over, it's beourguestpodcast.com/clubhouse. It's our community, and our community is just so awesome. And I just want to thank you all for being a part of that. You guys are the best. Follow me on the social media. I'm at Be Our Guest Mike on Instagram, x.com, and Threads. And again, we'll do this next Sunday night, 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Central, and Scott will be back. So it'll be a better show. We'll have 2-person booth Jordan, you're awesome. Thank you. You're the best, man. I appreciate you so much. That took a lot of work, but it made our Discord server so much better. I've been geeking out about it for like a week. I've been showing Pam, and she doesn't really care because she doesn't get any of this stuff, but I do. And I think it's so awesome. So I'm talking about my Pam, my wife. She's not a tech person. All right. So I'm going to get out of here. We'll have the shows this week and hope you enjoy them. If you ever have any questions for the live listener question show, Mike at brguestpodcast.com. If you have any feedback, that's where it would go. But I just appreciate you guys being a part of the community. So come on over to the clubhouse, and the fun never stops. The conversation goes constantly. My phone's just always going beep, 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 beep with posts, and it makes me happy. All right. So guys, have a good one. If you're having a Thursday, if you're listening to this on the feed, have a happy Thursday. Or if you're listening to this on Sunday night, have a happy Sunday night. All right. So until we talk again, you guys stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you real soon. All righty, everybody. Pam does rock. I agree. But she's not a tech person. She doesn't care about emojis that have Scott and Mike on them or the BRGS Podcast logo, but I think it's the coolest thing in the history of the world. I love that stuff. All right. Well, thank you guys for hanging with me. I am going to edit this and upload this and get us ready for this week's shows. So I will catch you all. Claire Rosenfield. You must know Pam. Okay. So I am going to upload this show and get it ready for the feed and get this week's podcast ready. So I hope you guys have a great Sunday night, and I will talk. So we'll have the shows tomorrow. I think tomorrow will be normal time, 5:30 Eastern to record. So join us then. I know Ricky's going to join me. Maybe I can talk Scott. I don't know about Pam and Scott's status, but I'll try to get them in here too. So have a good night, everybody. Talk to you later. Bye.